All right, now, this neoliberalism. People, as I say, they're talking about subordinating society to the economy. So I've got a question mark around this. As someone who finished his PhD on economic thought and social policy way back in 1991, I've experienced numerous transitions in this sometimes fraught relationship. So it's important to go back, if we're going to be out there on the front foot, and recall, I'm sure there are a number of people like me can recall, how in the early 80s, church and community agencies were very much parties of initiative. On the back of 3 decades of Keynesian full employment, the expansion of social services in the community sector had become the way to convert the economic largesse of the economic long post-war boom to the creation of the great or the good society. We believed in it. We're out there building it. By the end of the decade, however, social reform horizon had shrunk as we experienced what was dubbed the fiscal crisis of the welfare state. Economic rationalism picked up the political pace, with social welfare becoming cast as a wasteful spender needing to be reined in the interests of economic efficiency. Nevertheless, Labor governments of the period, Keating and them, managed to maintain a commitment to social justice and hold something of a social policy bottom line below which they weren't prepared to go. And in his own way, the Howard government's social conservatism also recognised these moral limits, and an odd lib-lab consensus prevailed. The pro-market economic agenda appeared justified by the economy's improving efficiency, while the welfare functions of the state remain tolerated, if not encouraged. The fair go simply wouldn't go away. By any historical reckoning, however, the 90s was a pretty gruesome time for those in the social sectors. It was an odd combination of an economics in which markets had been reborn as the failure-free template for reform, hence neoliberalism, with a set of social policies and institutions increasingly resembling baggage left over from the ideological contest of the mid-20th century. In this compromise, economic policy was absolutely bulletproof against welfare activists seeking a restoration of full employment and the welfare state, even while it accepted a politically necessary residue of the welfare system as a price to be paid for political legitimacy. But now, in the new century, has brought a reversal of fortunes between economic and social policy. The direction of economic policy today is radically uncertain. The GFC ripped away, that's the global financial crisis, ripped away neoliberalism's mantle of infallibility, but no clear theoretical successor has appeared in the wings, as was the case with Keynes in the 30s and Hayek in the 80s. Pragmatism, not one-size-fits-all grand theory, has become the counsel of the day. On the other hand, social policy's renewal was steady and strong, beginning with the transition from the welfare state to a social investment state, leading on today to the new integration with economic policy in the inclusive growth framework. So in Australia, this renewal of social policy became well advanced during the years of Labor government and had apparently become bipartisan in the election promises of 2013. Once in government, however, the Abbott team appeared, in Ross Gitton's phrase, to lurch to the right. It may, I'm saying may, not it does, represent a radical liberal attempt to reinvigorate economic rationalism while taking care of the unfinished business of eliminating those residues of the fair go. As such, it would appear in stark contrast to inclusive growth. So thus, as we look forward to the policy new year of 2015, it's appropriate to counsel church and community activists to initiative, not resistance, attack, not defence. It has taken more than a decade to transform ourselves from the leftover baggage of the welfare state to a sector with a vision of an economy harnessed to the creation of the good society. Neoliberalism, on the other hand, resembles less an invigorating agenda for economic reform and more a conservative clinging to an economic model incubated in the 80s, which simply failed to appreciate the social dimension of economic success.